This is NJ, your host on this channel. In this video, we will have our discussion on the monthly predictions for the month of June. So now friends, few things which I want to make it clear before we will start our discussion, that if you want to land at any important decision, you have to include your ongoing dashas, the kind of yogas you have in your chart, and then you have to blend it with these kind of monthly transits. But definitely friends, transit actually plays a very pivotal role in giving us this idea that in which direction wind is going to be flowing in this upcoming month. So now friends, before we will switch to the customized results, let's just first try to understand that what and how all the planets are going to be behaving in this month. So now friends, starting with the king amongst the planets, the planet Sun. So in the first half of the month of June, Sun is definitely going to be transiting in the sign of Taurus, which can be seen as a little bit sensitive placement, because Taurus and the ruler of the Taurus, which is Venus, is not very friendly with the planet Sun. But definitely for all those people who are working in the fields of banking and finances, they might have got benefited. But trust me friends, once Sun is going to enter the sign of Gemini, which is the sign of Sun's friend Mercury, and in the Gemini it is also going to be receiving the aspect from the planet Mars as well. So then it can be seen as a good placement for Sun to be placed in. All prospects of your communication, of your self-expression is going to get brightened up. Now friends, moving ahead with the planet Mars. So now Mars is definitely going to be right now in a very dignified state, because it is transiting in the sign of its good friend Jupiter. It is also conjunct with Jupiter in the Pisces sign. So whatsoever Jupiter is trying to do in your life in the form of giving you opportunities, giving you wisdom, giving you spiritual knowledge, so whatsoever Jupiter is meant to do in your life, Mars is actually providing thrust to it. But trust me friends, on June 26th, when Mars is going to enter the sign of Aries, although this is a sign which is being ruled by the planet Mars itself, but during this time there is a sensitivity attached to this upcoming transit of Mars, because once it's going to enter the sign of Aries, it's going to get conjunct with Rahu over there. So we will have a separate discussion on that later on the month of June. And friends, moving ahead with the planet Mercury. So Mercury is definitely in a very dignified state during this month, because Mercury is going to be transiting in the sign of Taurus, which can be seen as a very good sign of financial management, using your discriminatory intelligence for your financial gains. All those people who are connected in the fields where public speaking is an integral part, they can also get benefited, because on June 3rd, Mercury is going to come out of its retrograde motion. Now friends, moving ahead with the Venus. Now again friends, for Venus, like right now Venus is transiting in the Aries sign. It is also conjunct with Rahu, which can actually give you charm, which can actually give you elegance, create a hype around your personality. But when we talk about harmony in relationship, when we talk about maintaining that sort of integrity in any sort of relationship management, over there the energies of Venus get afflicted because of the effect of the Rahu. So again friends, I'll say the same thing. If in your line of work, anything to do with the sensuality, anything to do with the casinos and all those Rahu related connected fields, then you can still get benefited. But when we talk about the true nectar of Venus, which is about purity, which is about compassion, which is about purity in the love, those significations can get affected. But on 17th of June, once Venus is going to enter the sign of Taurus, it's going to get conjunct with Mercury over there, then you can actually experience the best side of the Venusian results. Friends, moving ahead to the planet Saturn. So definitely Saturn is going to go retrograde on June 5th. Now friends, over this time, the retrograde of Saturn is not that threatful, or is not creating much of the problem, because you have to understand this thing that first of all, Saturn is going to be transiting in the Aquarius sign. It's Mool Trikona sign, and it's going to be in a very early degrees of the Aquarius, and it's going to go retrograde. The moment or till the time Saturn is not going to go retrograde back to the Capricorn sign on July 12th. So I would still say that this is a alignment of Saturn where neither destiny is restraining you, like Saturn bringing its karma trying to restrain you, nor it's actually granting results. So the alignment has formed in a way that the more efforts you're gonna put, the better results you can anticipate. So neither Saturn is in a state to give you results in a very bountiful way, it's gonna restrain you to a greater extent. So that is something, friends, which is going to be taking place in this whole month of June. And now we will shift our discussion to the customized results. So now, friends, starting with the Aries rising people. So definitely, friends, this month, as you can fairly see, that your ascendant lord, which is currently conjunct with Jupiter in your 12th house. So anything to do with the foreign lands, immigration, foreign universities, spiritual and religious austerities, this can be seen as a very blessed time for you. Any area of life which is asking for any cleansing, any sort of letting go, this time period can be seen as very beneficial. The only vulnerability over here is that just because you have Venus right now transiting right over there in your first house being conjunct with Rahu. So I would say that in the matters of relationship management and all of that, specifically while dealing with females and everything, you have to remain very cautious. Now trust me, friends, by the second half of the month, once Venus is going to enter your second house, it's gonna get conjunct with Mercury over there, and Sun, which is your 5th house lord, it is also going to enter your 3rd house. So I would say by the second half of the month, for any sort of opportunities, whether you work in the fields of sales, media, marketing, you are a self-employed person, so for any sort of financial gains perspective, the second half of month will start manifesting and giving good results to you. The only thing is that, friends, although there is going to be a lot of time for that, the transit of your ascendant lord coming right over there in your first house, getting conjunct with Rahu, is going to be the end of the month scenario. So I would say that whatsoever area of life which needs to be fixed up, which needs to be let go, and I would say that this is a very auspicious time which you're currently going through, where you can actually accelerate a lot in your spiritual progress. So actually give time to this, because it's a very blessed time which you have right now, because Mars, your ascendant lord, Jupiter, actually churning up a lot of energies in the matter of your 12th house. And also, friends, like I'm not even seeing that Saturn is gonna create any trouble, any problems for you. The more you're gonna work hard, the better result you can anticipate. Moving ahead, friends, now for all the Taurus rising people. So now, friends, in your case, like definitely you will start this month with this vulnerability that your ascendant lord is conjunct with Rahu in the 12th house. So that is the only one thing which is creating vulnerability. But apart from that, when we talk about specifically from your anything to do with from your network perspective, opportunity perspective, so definitely the month seems to be equally good for you because of the conjunction of Jupiter and Mars right over there in your 11th house. And like the way, friends, I've already mentioned this thing, that anything to do on the matters of partnership, on the matters of public dealing, on the matters of your relationship, business, networking, you are actually going through a very promising time. Make best use out of that. But the only thing is that do not trust anyone on with this blind faith. So that is the only thing I want to add over here, because whatsoever happens at the end of the day, ascendant lord should be promising it. So because ascendant lord in the first half of the month is in a very sensitive alignment, so only if you can work on that area you can actually get benefited. So because whenever there is an energy of 12th house and the influence of Rahu, so all the illusions of the life of the world look very fascinating. So only if you can put a restraint over there. And apart from that, friends, in your case, if you will see that Sun, which has got the rulership of your 4th house, and in transit Sun is going to enter your 2nd house of your finances. So for all those people, because I keep on running into many Taurus people who are into the fields of Vastu, interior decor, dealing with the luxury goods and fashionable items and products and all of that. So all those people can get benefited because of the entry of Sun in your second house of your finances. And not only that friends, because Mars is also going to be aspecting it as well, so lot of energy, lot of thrust is gonna go in the matters of your finances. Definitely the process and the prospects of your communication, your speech is going to get brightened up during this month. Moving ahead friends, now for all the Gemini rising people, so now friends, in your case, as you can freely see that you will start the month with a very good note, because right now your ascendant lord Mercury is retrograde in the 12th house, which is always a very perplexing, very confusing state. And like moving ahead, once on June 5th, like around June 3rd to 5th in between, once Mercury is going to be in the direct motion, then you can actually start progressing, and any of the matters of 12th house can also work in your benefit, specifically if your profession, your livelihood is straight away connected with the matters of the 12th house. Now friends, in your 11th house, we have right now a very good combination of the conjunction of Rahu and Venus over there. So now friends, as you know this thing that the conjunction of Rahu and Venus accentuates the material side of the life. Now it all comes down to your circle of influence, your friend circle, your aspiration. If your line of work involves dealing with the luxury items, women and feminine products and all of that, so you can actually get benefited. Rather, I would say that even in your circle of influence, in your friend circle, because of the support of some female person, you can actually be connected with any of the important opportunity as well. So regarding that front, your 11th house is actually generating a lot of positive energy. Now friends, when we talk about the matters of the 10th house, so definitely we have Jupiter and we have Mars being conjunct over here, which can be seen as a very good sign, because for anything to do with the taking some important concrete steps, progressing in your professional environment, because of the support of your bosses, support of the important people. So even from that front, this can be seen as a very good month for you guys, because friends, from your 10th house, Mars is also going to be looking at your Sun in your first house. Once in the second half of the month of June, Sun is going to come out of your 12th house and it's gonna enter your first house. So definitely friends, lot of limelight, lot of recognition which is going over there. So I would say in your case, you are lucky in this regard that right over there in your first house, Sun, which has got the rulership of your third house, of your communication, of your influence, of your networking, your initiative, Sun is going to be rising over there in your first house, and over and above that in the 11th house, in the 10th house. So the combination which you are running right now, I would say that specifically once your ascendant lord is going to come out of the retrograde motion, then I would say that life is actually going to put the spotlight on you. So how much efforts you are putting in, how diligently you're working hard, so it all depends on that. And if you are gonna be putting your efforts in the right direction, good results, good opportunities can be accumulated during this month. Moving ahead friends, now for all the Cancer rising people, so now friends, in your case, as you can freely see that month will start on a very good note, that in the first week of June, Mercury is going to go direct in your 11th house, which can be seen as a very good sign. Because friends, whenever we talk about Mercury retrograde in the 11th house, many times it gives confusion within your friend circle, or reflecting too much back to your original plans rather than being proactive. So once Mercury is going to go direct in your 11th house, and over and above that, the entry of Venus in your 11th house is definitely going to be creating a good yoga. So for the generation of any sort of opportunities, this month is creating some very good energy for you guys. And over and above that friends, like whenever we talk about any of the alignment or involvement of the 11th house and the 5th house axis, it has everything to do with the adventure, excitement, socializing. So I would say that month seems to be creating very good energy for you for a very exuberant, active social life. Over and above that friends, even if you will give attention to your 9th house, so definitely friends, you are right now going through a very important Raj Yoga, because Mars, which is your Yoga Karaka planet, and Jupiter is empowered and very strongly rooted in your 9th house of luck and fortune. So I would say that in whichever stage of life you are in whichever direction you are putting your efforts, the support of luck is definitely going to help you in all of your endeavors. Another way of looking at this month for you guys is that Saturn is going to go retrograde in your 8th house. So I would say that friends, like I have already mentioned this thing, that Saturn is not in a very threatful or vulnerable state for anyone, because it has not like retrograde on a very deeper degrees of Aquarius, nor it is in any sort of Gandanta zone or something. And because Saturn has got the rulership of both the matters of your 7th house and the 8th house, the only way it is going to create hurdle is that, because if you are single looking out for a prospective match, and as you can see that because your 9th house is right now in a very dignified state, so you have to accelerate your search for the prospective partner. Even for all those people who have their own business, they are doing independently any sort of business, so the house of opportunities and the house of luck is right now very strong for you. But it's just like that, the actual house of business and the ruler planet of that house is in a very dormant, is in a very sensitive, in a very powerless kind of state. So you have to push your luck by your own hard work and efforts. But apart from that, till the time Saturn is in the Aquarius, early degrees of Aquarius, like till July 12th, by the time it's not gonna enter back to the Capricorn sign, I would still say that this can be seen as a very good time for any sort of spiritual progress, any sort of pilgrimage, and specifically good and auspicious time for all those people who are either connected with the occult fields, yoga, meditation, spirituality, insurance, revenue. All those people can get benefited. Results are going to be a little bit slow paced, but with your due diligence, hard work and efforts and faith, you can actually derive and extract some good results. Moving ahead, friends, now for all the Leo rising people. So now friends, in your case, as you can fairly see over here, that right now in their transit, first of all, your 10th house, because Venus becomes a very important planet for you guys, and Venus is going to enter your 10th house by the second half of the month of June, which is actually creating a very good yoga. Because friends, Mercury in your case, which has got the rulership of both the house of your opportunities and income, so Mercury is going to come out of its retrograde motion in the first week of the June, and once Venus is going to enter your 10th house, it's going to get conjunct with Mercury over there. So definitely friends, all the prospects of your career, your relationship management with your colleagues, with your bosses, new opportunities, capacity to multitask, make good connections, so all those things are gonna take a predomination during this month for you guys. Second thing is that friends, even in the transit of your ascendant lord in the 11th house is generally considered as a very good sign. It's just like that, the limelight, recognition, spotlight is going to be on you. So it all comes down to with how much hard work you're putting in your efforts. Are you in that stage of your life where you are anticipating some sort of recognition, some sort of award, planning to launch some product, or expand your existing line of business? So for any sort of recognition, running into important prominent people, generating more opportunities, this month is actually creating some very positive energy for all of you guys. Now friends, if you want to understand this month from the perspective of the Saturn, so definitely friends, Saturn is going to be retrograde in the early degrees of Aquarius in your 7th house. And like the way I have mentioned this thing at the beginning of this video, that it's not a Gandanta zone for Saturn. Saturn is not in a very deeper degrees of the Aquarius sign, so I would say that it's not gonna create much of the impact or much of the influence. The only thing is that for any of the matters of your 7th house, now this could be you're single looking out for a prospective match to get married, or any sort of important commercial business decision, so you have to keep on putting in efforts. You cannot just rely on luck or leave things on destiny. So till the time you are ready to work hard, you are diligently working hard. So because of a prominent 10th house this month in the transit, and over and above that, with this alignment which Saturn is creating in your 7th house, good results can be anticipated. It could be a little bit slow, but with your diligence, hard work, with your charisma in your personality, which Venus and Mercury is generating in your 10th house, good results can be anticipated. Now friends, if we talk about the matters of your 8th house, so definitely friends, you have right now Jupiter and Mars, which are right now conjunct in your 8th house. And as you know this thing, that Mars becomes an important planet for you guys because it is a Yoga Karaka planet for you guys. So I would also say that no matter in which stage of life you are in, what your other priorities are, but over and above that, with this kind of auspicious yoga which you have right now, because in your case, as you can see that Jupiter has got the rulership of your 5th house as well. So rather than just getting distracted by the sensuality and the spectacle speculative aspect of the material world, I would also say that prioritize your spiritual and religious austerities as well. And I would also say that if you are planning for some sort of pilgrimage, some sort of mantra, spiritual retreat, or starting yoga classes, so even from all of those perspectives, the time period which you are currently right now and the energies of this month seems to be promising for you. Because friends, trust me on this thing, once a Mars is going to come out of the 8th house, it's gonna enter the 9th house, and its conjunction with Rahu is actually going to snowball and gonna create lot of sudden unpredictable results. So right now things looks like to be very much under control, so make best use out of it. Moving ahead friends, now for all the Virgo rising people, so now friends, as you can fairly see over here that your 9th house this month is gaining a lot of prominence, which can be seen as a very good sign. So first of all, to begin with, your ascendant lord, which has been retrograde for past couple of days, is going to come out of its retrograde motion in the first week of the June. And over and above that friends, Venus, which has got a very important say in your case because it has got the rulership of your second house of finances, it's also gonna come out of your 8th house and is going to get conjunct with Mercury in your 9th house, which can also be seen as a very good sign. Now friends, whenever we talk about anything to do with the Virgo, you have to understand this thing that Virgo originally is the Kanya sign. It's a feminine energy, and over and above that, the transit of your ascendant lord and another feminine planet Venus entering your 9th house. So this month's energy seems to be very promising for you for worshipping or showering and showing your affection towards the feminine thing. Now this could be being respectful and loving towards your wife, this could be your daughters, this could be your female colleagues, or any of the worship of the feminine divine can actually prove very beneficial this month for you guys. Now even if you will see in the matters of your 7th house, so we have right now Jupiter, and we have Mars being transiting over here in your 7th house, which is also churning up and creating a lot of positive energy, specifically for all those people who are single. This can be seen as a very promising time for running into a prospective match, for getting married, and for any sort of important commercial decision, like specifically all those people who are in any way is connected with politics or dealing with the masses, is an integral part of your line of work. So for all those people, this month seems to be creating very positive energy. And friends, even if you will include the role of Saturn in your case, so Saturn is going to go retrograde in your 6th house in the early degrees of Aquarius, which is not making you guys very vulnerable, because first of all, it is not deep within the Aquarius sign. It is not in any sort of Gandanta zone or something. So definitely in the matters of your daily work life, in your professional life, I would say that trust me, Saturn is actually creating a very sensitive, a very surprising alignment right now, that it is not in that state that it's gonna create some difficulty, put a lot of restraint in your line of work, nor it is in that state that it's gonna offer results in a very bountiful, in a very generous way. It's just like that it's in a very kind of a dormant state. So the more you are working hard, the better results you can anticipate. Moving ahead friends, now for all the Libra rising people, so now friends, in your case, the month will start on a very good note for you guys, as Mercury is going to come out of its retrograde motion in your 8th house. So definitely, if it has been giving you nightmares that you are thinking too much, you are reflecting too much on your past mistakes and everything, so Mercury is gonna stop all of those things. Second thing is that friends, your ascendant lord is also going to enter your 8th house in the second half of the month of June. So the elegance, the charm, the charisma in your personality is going to be very noticeable throughout this month. And friends, another way of looking at this transit is that now definitely all those people who are straight away connected with the 8th house related matters, working in the fields of banking, investment, revenue, insurance, occult sciences, all those people can get benefited. The second thing is that friends, this month is actually creating a lot of positive energy for you, because if you're in that stage of your life that you have sown seeds for some big plan, concrete plan, you have been chasing some big dream, important people, because during this month your 11th house lord, the lord of your house of wish fulfillment, opportunities, is also going to transit in your 9th house of luck and fortune. So definitely friends, planetary alignment is creating very positive auspicious yoga for all the Libra rising people. The second thing is that, friends, even if you will see the matters of your 6th house, so we have right now like Jupiter and Mars being conjunct over here. So specifically for all those people who are connected with the fields of health, nutrition, fitness, nursing, medical industry, they are actually going through a very good time. Planets in their transit seems to be positive for all those people who are connected with these fields. And also, friends, even if we have to include the role of Saturn in your case, so now just because Saturn is a very important planet for you guys, it is a Yoga planet for you guys, and in the like transit Saturn turning retrograde in the early degrees of Aquarius, right over there in your 5th house, is not gonna create much of the problem, because friends, I have already explained this thing. It's not like that Saturn is in a Gandanta position. It's not like that Saturn is going to go retrograde deep within the Aquarius sign, or it is heavily afflicted with some other planet. So it's not like that. So I would say the matters of your 5th house, it's like Saturn is in such a dormant state that at least till July 12th, when it's not going to enter the sign of Capricorn, being in a retrograde motion. So I would say that yes, the matters of the 5th house will definitely demand lot of push from you, because if you're gonna be relying on the contribution from Saturn, because it is actually transiting in the 5th house of your intellect, of your mind, of your thinking process. So I would say that definitely there is a freehold. Saturn being in a dormant state is just indicating that it is not restraining you, it is not offering you some sort of generous, bountiful results. So the more you're gonna put efforts, the better results you can anticipate. And the drive is something which you have to take out from deep within. So you have to be self-driven, self-motivated, and trust me, good results can be anticipated for all the Libra rising natives in this month of June. Moving ahead, friends, now for all the Scorpio rising people. So definitely, friends, in your case, you are actually going through some very positive time. See, I'm such a positive person. You give me any chart, any rising, any moon sign, I will only have good things to say. So yes, friends, in your case, in your 7th house, we have Mercury, which was retrograde for past couple of weeks. On the first week of the June, Mercury will come out of its retrograde motion. Over and above that, the entry of Venus in your 7th house is going to be triggering up, churning up all the matters of your 7th house. So specifically, friends, for all those people who are single, now whether you live in that culture, in that era that you just want to meet someone or start a relationship, or whether you live in those communities where you want to find your soulmate and you want to tie the knot, get married, and you're looking out for a prospective partner, so you're actually going through a very good time, because Jupiter is very well placed in your 5th house. Venus coming in your 7th house is actually gonna create a lot of positive opportunities, provision for finding the right person. Also for all those people who are in any sort of line of work, like their own business, partnership business, dealing with the masses, you being a politician, you being in any sort of government or federal government field and all of that. So all those people can also get benefited with this kind of alignment which is getting formed in your 7th house. So new contracts, new agreements, running into being introduced to new people. So that is the kind of yoga and energy which is getting formed over here. Now friends, as you can see that, right now you're actually in a very enjoyable phase as per the transit, because your ascendant lord is in the 5th house. And whenever we talk about anything to do with adventure, excitement, travels, fun, so the pleasure side is definitely being seen with the 5th house. So right now the time seems to be very promising for you in any of the matters of the 5th house. But friends, trust me, in the last week of the month of June, once your ascendant lord is going to enter your 6th house and is going to get conjunct with Rahu, then it is going to make you a little bit vulnerable in this regard, that if in your personality, in your behavior, there is a lot of rashness, there is a lot of headstrongness, dealing with challenges, enemies on a daily basis is an integral part of your line of work, then you have to remain cautious and careful. But I would say that by the time your ascendant lord is going to transit in your 6th house, during the June 27th, by the end of the last few days of the June. So I would say before that, time seems to be very promising for you for any sort of opportunities, any sort of connections. And I would also say this thing, friends, because in your case, as you can see that Sun in your case has got the rulership of your 10th house, and the 10th house lord in the transit going to the 8th house, and it is also receiving the aspect from the planet Mars from your 5th house, is definitely going to be creating some positive energy, like with your due effort. Like if in your line of work you have been anticipating some positive news, some sudden big opportunity and results, so even from all of those perspectives, the yogas seems to be very much working in your favor. And also, friends, even if we have to include the contribution of the planet Saturn, so definitely Saturn is going to go retrograde in the early degrees of Aquarius right over there in your 4th house, which can be seen as a good sign, because again, friends, Saturn is not in any sort of Gandanta zone. Saturn is right now not in any sort of, like, it's not that powerful that it's deep within the Aquarius and then it's going to go retrograde, or it's conjunct with any other malefic planet. So friends, I would say that, let's say for example, if in your line of work, because a lot many Saturnian and Martian ruled moon sign and ascendant people end up working in the fields of construction and real estate and all of that. So I would say that if the 4th house related matters, and Saturn is an important planet which has got a say in your profession, in your line of work, so I would say that you have to put in efforts, because Saturn is going to be in that dormant state that it is not gonna give that sort of necessary thrust or push which you need. Because friends, again, in your case, Saturn is not in your 4th house, but it has got the rulership of your 3rd and 4th, like both houses. And 3rd house is the house of initiatives, courage, motivation and drive. So I would say that if you're in that stage of life that you are lacking that sort of motivation and drive, so you do not have to resort on the outside world, you have to find that drive deep from within. And trust me, seeking out and reaching out and finding out that drive and motivation and purpose can actually give you a positive thrust in the right direction. Moving ahead, friends, now for all the Sagittarius rising people, so now friends, definitely in your case, as you can see that your ascendant lord, which is the planet Jupiter, is very well placed in the 4th house conjunct with Mars. So I would say for all those people who work as a teacher, lecturer, trainer, working in the fields of construction, real estate, interior decor and all of that, you guys are actually going through some very good time. I have already mentioned this thing, that for anything to do with the home decor related matters as well, you want to redo your interior decor, anything to do with the vastu, organizing a spiritual part or puja in your home, so the time seems to be very promising for you guys. The second thing is that, friends, definitely as you can see that Mercury has been retrograde in your 6th house, and the retrograde of Mercury, that too in the 6th house, is always a vulnerable energy. Like, although Mercury in the original Kal Purush Kundli attains exaltation in this house, but because friends, like 6th house tells about our capacity to multitask and manage, and when it's gonna go retrograde, many times it just create a situation of deadlock, of confusion, of chaos. You forgot to sign the document, you forgot to allot that responsibility to someone, and things got backfired. So once Mercury is going to go direct in its motion, and Venus also going to enter your 6th house, that is definitely going to create that sort of balance and harmony again in your daily work life. The second thing is that, friends, definitely Venus in your case has got the rulership of your 11th house as well. So definitely for the professional networking, awaiting some sort of recognition or opportunity, if you have been waiting for that, so for all of those perspective, the month seems to be working very much in your favor. Now friends, the best of this transit is going to be experienced specifically, I would say, that by the second half of the month of June, because it's not only that Venus is going to enter your 6th house, is going to get dignified, but also Sun, which in your case has got the rulership of your 9th house of luck and fortune, is also going to enter your 7th house. So by the time all of this important transit, specifically the transit of Venus and Sun, hasn't taken place, I would say that keep a restraint in your activities, because friends, you have to understand this thing that the conjunction of Venus and Rahu in the 5th house many times gives fascination towards all those beautiful, all those tempting things in the society, which becomes very difficult and becomes a very strong distraction for young people, teenagers, people who are still going through their school and education and studies. So only if you can keep a balance over there, so good results by the second half of the month of June will start coming in. The second thing is that, friends, even if you will look at over here in your 3rd house, so Saturn is going to go retrograde in the early degrees of Aquarius right over there in your 3rd house. So I would say, friends, that 3rd house, which has to do with your drive, with your motivation, with your initiatives, so Saturn is in such a sensitive stage that it is actually going to act in a very dormant stage, because first of all, Saturn is not vulnerable in the form of being in a Gandanta zone or being deep within the sign, very powerful and retrograde, or conjunct with any other malefic planet. It's just like that, the drive which you need, you have to push yourself. You have to find that inner drive and motivation deep from within yourself, because Saturn has not only got the rulership of your 3rd house, but also the 2nd house of your finances as well. And also, friends, I would say that for any sort of plans which you have, if you're working on them, any sort of goals, any sort of initiatives, any sort of connections within your network circle, I would say do not rely much on other people. Always verify, validate things, and take the bull by the horns. This is not the month, or the month's energy is not seems to be very favorable, that if you're gonna leave things on destiny or being dependent on other people is going to get work done. You have to learn how to be self-reliant, and that is how you have to act, you have to behave this month. Moving ahead, friends, now for all the Capricorn rising people. So now, friends, in your case, as you can freely see that your 3rd house right now is in a very empowered state, because of the conjunction of Jupiter and Mars over here. Over and above that, friends, because lately in your case as well, Mercury was retrograde in your 5th house. Although I would say that in many times retrograde Mercury in the 5th house manifests good results, because it makes your mind, your thinking process very deeply insightful, very reflective. And over and above that, your Yogaraka planet, which is the planet Venus. So Venus is also going to enter your 5th house by the second half of the month of June. It's gonna get conjunct with Mercury in your 5th house. So the conjunction of Venus and Mercury, which creates a Lakshmi Narayana Yoga in the 5th house of intellect, art and creativity, speculation. So definitely, friends, by the second half of the month of June, you will start experiencing good results, specifically for all those people who are connected with the fields of art, media, fashion, creativity. I would also say that even for the students, it's only the influence of Rahu and Venus which can actually tempt you or distracts you towards all the fascinating things of the society. But I would say that the conjunction of Mercury and Venus can still be utilized. This energy can still be utilized to your advantage for all the students and people going through their higher school and studies and all of that. And also, friends, like in your case, because Saturn, which is your ascendant lord, it's going to be like a retrograde in the early degrees of Aquarius in your 2nd house. So friends, again, Saturn is not in that vulnerable state. It's not like that Saturn is in a Gandanta zone, Saturn is conjunct with any other malefic planet, or Saturn is deep within the Aquarius, very powerful and retrograde. I would say that Saturn is in such a dormant state that it's not gonna create any restraint. Also, it's not gonna offer results and give results in a very bountiful, in a very generous way. It's just like that in the matters of your finance, you have to be self-reliant, you have to be confident, self-driven, motivated, and you have to take the bull by the horns. This is not the energy for you to leave things on other or being completely dependent on other people. Also, friends, when we talk about from the perspective of the sun, so sun in your case has got the rulership of your 8th house, and in transit it's gonna enter your 6th house. Now many people are gonna say this is a Vipreet Raj Yoga kind of state, but I would still say this thing that 8th house energy, wheresoever it goes, it somehow makes us vulnerable. And sun, which has got the signification of your public image, name, fame, recognition. So I would say that specifically in the matters of your daily work life, while dealing with colleagues or dealing with bosses, try to remain a bit cautious, and most importantly, try not to get into the mess of other people. Like, try not to be a part of other people's problem, other people's politics and all of that. So just only if you can keep yourself safe in all those matters with this potent and strong fifth house. So definitely friends, not only the material results are gonna manifest, but also I always say this thing, that whenever we talk about anything to do with the enjoyment, adventure, excitement, travels, all those things we generally see with the fifth house. So Mercury and Venus is definitely going to support all these kind of road trips, adventure sports and all of those activities. And not only that friends, even in your third house, as you can fairly see that Mars and Jupiter are very well placed, very well conjunct over here. So definitely this month's energy seems to be more promising of giving more time to your hobbies, enjoying with your family, with your friends, with children. So for all of those perspectives, this month's energy seems to be very promising for all the Capricorn rising people. Moving ahead friends, now for all the Aquarius rising people. So now friends, in your case, as you can freely see that your ascendant lord is going to go retrograde right over there in your first house in the early degrees of the Aquarius. So now friends, like the way I've been mentioning this in all of the rising sign predictions, that it's not a very sensitive or vulnerable state of Saturn for anyone, because Saturn is not in any sort of Gandanta zone, it is not conjunct with any other malefic planet, nor it is so strong that it is deep within a sign and then it has gone retrograde. It's just like that Saturn is going to be in such a dormant state that the free will is going to be in your hand. The more efforts you're gonna put, the better results you can anticipate. The second thing is that friends, Mercury, which is a trine lord for you guys, it's also going to come out of its retrograde motion right over there in your fourth house. And in the second half of the month of June, once your Yoga planet Venus is going to enter your fourth house, get conjunct with Mercury. So definitely friends, the feel good factor is going to be experienced deep within. The matters of your domestic life is gonna take a positive leap. Like if lately you have been going through some difficulties and all of that, all of those issues can get resolved. You might also host a party within your family, within your home. And over and above that friends, all those people who are dealing in any sort of matters of the fourth house, dealing as a Vastu consultant, working as a dealer for buying and selling of vehicles, luxurious goods, fashionable products. So all those people can get benefited. And over and above that friends, because Jupiter and Mars are very well placed in your second house. Mars in your case, which has got the rulership of your 10th house as well. So I would also say that for all those people who are in any way connected with the fields of technology, of philosophy, banking, so all those people can also get benefited. So this month seems to be creating very positive energy for you guys. Friends, trust me, on June 26th, once your 10th house lord Mars is going to get conjunct with Rahu, like after entering your third house, that is going to be time when results will come in a very extreme way, sudden, unpredictable way. Like a sudden thrust of energy is going to be experienced. But before that friends, I would say that till the time your 10th house lord is transiting in your second house, make best use out of it. Even in your professional environment, if you are in that stage, you want to negotiate for a new role, or you want to renegotiate or work on your existing package or remuneration, so the time seems to be working very much in your favor for all the Aquarius rising people. And also friends, we cannot even overlook this fact that Sun, which in your case has got the rulership of your 7th house. So in the second half of the month of June, your 7th house lord will also enter your 5th house, which can be seen as a blessing in disguise for all those people who are connected with the fields of art, media, creativity, anything to do with succeeding with the support of your partner, because 5th house has everything to do with the recognition, with the dignity aspect. And in the original Kalpurush Kundli, this is the house which belongs to the planet Sun only. So definitely friends, for all those people connected with the fields of art, media, fashion, beauty, creativity, they can also get benefited with the transit of Sun right over there in your 5th house. So overall planetary alignments seems to be working a lot in the favor for all the Aquarius rising people. And last friends, for all the Pisces rising people, so friends, as you can freely see over here that your first house is in a very potent, powerful state because of the transit of two important planets like Jupiter and Mars right over there in your first house. Friends, the month is definitely going to start in this note that Saturn is going to go retrograde in the early degrees of Aquarius in your 12th house. And like the way I've been mentioning this thing for all the rising signs, it's not a transit shift of Saturn where it is in a like a Gandanta zone, or Saturn is conjunct with any other malefic planet, or in any so way where it can create a lot of restraint. But the distinctive part is that it is also not in that state where it is going to manifest results in a very generous, in a very bountiful way. So it all comes down to your own efforts. The more efforts you're gonna put, the better results you can anticipate from this planet, which is right now in a very dormant state. So specifically for all those people in whose case 12th house related matters are straight away getting qualified, because friends, in your case you cannot overlook Saturn, because first of all Saturn attains exaltation in your 8th house. Second thing is that Saturn has got the rulership of both the houses of your gains and losses. So in a way, a very subtle and a discriminatory way of looking at the 12th house for all the Pisces people is that it is the house of spiritual essence and transcendental wisdom and knowledge as well. So Saturn holds the key to grant you that knowledge. So I would say, friends, that if in your line of work Saturnian fields, anything to do with spirituality, meditation is getting qualified in your case, good results can be anticipated. It's just like that things are not gonna happen on their own. You have to push it, you have to work hard very diligently. The second thing is that, friends, if you will see over here that in your 3rd house, like Mercury is going to come out of its retrograde motion, which can be seen as a very good sign, and over and above that the transit of Venus in your 3rd house can also be seen as a very positive time for networking, collaboration, meeting new people, initiating some new plans and projects. So even from all of those perspectives, the month seems to be very much promising and working in your favor. Now friends, when we talk from Sun's perspective, so in your case, friends, Sun has got the rulership of your 6th house. So in the transit, 6th house lord coming in the 4th house is definitely going to bring the spotlight, and the sunshine is gonna come in the matters of your 4th house. So definitely inner drive and motivation will definitely guide you, and I would say that this can be seen as a very good time as well, specifically for all those people in whose case like dealing with the arbitration, litigation, dispute management, with all these fields is getting qualified. So all those people can also get benefited. And like the way, friends, this is a very auspicious time which you guys are going through. Your trine house lord planet Mars, which is very well placed with your ascendant lord in the 1st house, that in itself is an indicator that any sort of decision, steps taken by you during this time can actually generate some very positive lifetime results for all the Pisces rising people. So this is something, friends, which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs for the monthly predictions for all the rising signs. For further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyavad.